Yeah, so I actually started business at 7 years old. This always shocks everyone. But at 7 years old, I moved from Uruguay, a third world country, at 2 years old. And so my parents, moving here struggled financially. They never were like CEOs or business owners. They were always employees. So essentially at like 7 years old, I already started like, living in Miami, seeing luxury things and stuff, started to dream. But I knew I was never going to be able to afford that lifestyle if it didn't come from my own actions. So at 7, I started buying and, actually what I did was I started off by cleaning shoes. So I would go to like some of the older kids in school and ask if I can clean like their Jordans and stuff.
Hell yeah.
So I can make enough to buy my first pair of shoes. And then I went with my dad and we camped outside of like Foot Locker, Champs. Like we would do that like once a month. And we would buy the shoes, for $120, sell them on Facebook, different Facebook groups for like 300, make a profit, kept doing that until I was like 13, 14. And then 13, 14, I started reselling Ultra, Rolling Loud tickets, making a lot of profit doing that. And then like 15, 16, 17, I would throw like all the events in high school, like the pregame bus, the homecoming, the proms, all that stuff. I would host those events. And then at 17, throughout this whole time, I was always a soccer player too. So I got a lot of discipline from like waking up every day for practice, going to sleep late, having to wake up in the morning to finish my homework, all that different stuff. And then so at 17, I was in really good shape and people were always asking me, how can I transform my body? Like, what are you eating? What are you doing? And then I had, all this experience from all these little businesses that I was doing growing up. So I was like, wow, this can be like my first like official Instagram business, where I'm making money every day. It's not like, like occasional stuff. So that's when I launched my first Instagram business, which was a fitness business. So I started making workout meal plans for people. And then I built it into an e-com store as well. So like I would sell you these workout plans and meal plans. And then I'd also give you products that you can buy. So like pull-up bars, ab stimulators, like all these different like dumbbells, all these different equipment tools that you can use, inside of that fitness and workout program. And then what I realized was, not everyone can afford, to transform their body if, they're not making money, right? They can't afford good food. They can't afford a gym membership. So I started becoming extremely passionate about helping people make money. So I started simply just like showing people how, they can build a personal brand, showing people how they can scale their business. And then all of a sudden I realized, I just created a fitness business at 17 years old that did 6 figures in profit, in under a year before I got to college, any of that. And so I was like, I can help people grow on Instagram and get more clients and build their business from Instagram. And that's something where I can actually charge more too, which will lead me to making more money. And so what I did was I dropped out of college, moved to New York at the age of 18, opened up an office, and I launched the agency, Grow With This Agency. And so once I launched that, essentially I started charging, with the workout plan, I was charging only like $120. It wasn't, expensive. And then now my minimum ticket was $1,500. So same amount of work I would do, on 10 calls, I would make it in 1 call, right? So that's essentially how, I got to this point of where I'm at now. I launched the agency. It was high ticket. Now I've been doing that for 5 years. We've done over 10 million in sales. So that's kind of where I got to where I am now.
Dude, crazy story, especially with the reselling and not even being born in the U.S. and having to adjust, obviously, to the different cultures. So there's a lot to unpack there. We also all got our start through like reselling and camping out at like
I was seeing that when I was checking your page out. Yeah,
that's a great start, bro. And so you said like Instagram businesses, right? Like that was your first Instagram business. Like Instagram was popping off around that time. So like when did you first learn that like these businesses lived on Instagram and that was the place to be?
So kind of just like through like, just seeing stuff on Instagram, right? So Instagram started like I think in like 2013, 2012, around then. So kind of, after 3 years of being on there, you start, seeing the ads, you start seeing the entrepreneurs, you start dreaming a bit. And so that's probably what happened. I just started seeing stuff, realized I can do this myself. And then that's when I just started, the business.
That's huge.
Nice, man. You think Miami played a big factor in that too?
I think definitely, moving from Uruguay to Miami, if I was living in Uruguay, I probably wouldn't have the same drive, the same inspiration, when you see other luxury stuff and you want those things as well, it gives you that drive to go out there and get it. So definitely Miami played a role.
I think environment's so important, dude. Like if you live in East Bumfuck, Tennessee, like you're not really motivated. You don't see the cars, the houses, the watches, the stuff like that. You're like, oh, this is just average what I can expect as, my lifestyle. But then you move here, it's like all these people have money.
100%.
Why can't I? So
definitely. And being around those people that have the money, like the opportunities, I'm sure you've built a great network here and have gotten business connections and opportunities that way.
course.
Just being in Miami and being who you are.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed this short clip, check out the full interview here. And if you want to see more clips from this episode, check it out right here.